the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans. Pass the beans like we used to do. Pass the beans. 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 The Beans Talk.
Hey Beans fam, it is the Beans Talk podcast, and we are 4 educators of color bringing you raw, authentic conversation about society views and community engagement. Everybody, I'm Fabs.
I'm Steph. What's up, y'all?
What it do, baby? It's Ro.
And hello, this is TJ.
Yeah, man. And today we have a very special guest who's going to be joining us during our community circle. His name is Roger, also known as Teacherman91.
Teacherman.
Super excited to get started on that. Yes, sir. But before we dive in, I do actually have a do now. I have been trying my best to be as creative as possible, which is what I kind of described a little bit on the last podcast. But this actually came across my feed, and they were asking students this: if they were able to describe their feeling within a color or capture their feeling and emotions right now in one color, what would it be?
Right now, green.
Green. Why green?
Word.
I see green as opportunity.
Ooh,
Okay.
I like that.
Meaning, with this, where we're at with the remote learning, yes, it's a mess right now, only because it was rolled out last minute.
Yeah.
And this is exposing the lack of the implementation of technology that we use in the classroom.
Yeah.
Part of the reason, not the whole reason, but part of the reason why this is a big struggle for most students.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we need, because if you think about college, pretty much most of college now is remote learning. Like, you got to go on Blackboard, get the work done, and kids aren't exposed to that until college. That's why a lot of them struggle.
Yeah.
So if you implement that now, with the Google Classroom or Class Dojo, whatever the school uses, they'll be a lot more prepared for college.
Right. Absolutely.
And pushing them to be independent learners.
Yeah. So green for growth. I like that. Opportunity. I like that.
My color is red, and I know most people associate red with being like the danger zone or I'm on fire, but I'm actually seeing red as one of love and boldness. I feel like right now, I just feel so grateful. I think that this whole situation has really opened up my eyes to how much I have to be thankful and grateful for. And it's also been a really dope time for me to reconnect with people I haven't really talked to as much, and actually show a little bit more compassion, show a little bit more love. And so I'm kind of just in the feels of loving on other people and loving myself through this transition. So I'm red.
Nice.
I would say black, and that's not to be negative. I'm saying because I feel like I've been in a bubble, and I feel like I've been in my own cipher. And black to me is like an all-consuming color. It's something that kind of it blankets over you. It kind of shrouds you like a shroud of blackness. I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily a negative thing. I think that right now, I just feel very much in my own bubble, and I don't know. I feel black. I feel like that's the color that really kind of embodies this time for me, at least.
I hear that. I think for me, just came straight off the dome. Orange, because orange, you happy, you can work on dope shit during this time right now. I just feel like we are in a space where so much can happen, so much internally you can work on, so much creatively. And I don't know, just again, I know it's so corny to say orange, you happy, you can work on something, but it's orange, you happy that we can get this time right now. Obviously, not ideal. It's not the way we would have all wanted it, but there's so much opportunity and love and just encompassing everything that y'all were saying. Like, there's so much that can happen right now. So orange, you happy, we got this time right now.
I've never heard that, orange, you happy. That's the first time I've ever heard that. So
are you serious, bro?
Yeah, I never heard that.
I'm here for you.
I would choose blue.
Why
I would
blue?
choose blue. I feel like blue is known to be a color like of trust, but also the color blue gives me like a feeling of calmness, of exhale for some reason. And so I think I would choose the color blue, not too dark, but like a nice calm blue. Reminds me of the sky. It's just, I don't know. That's the way that I would, and I feel I can't emphasize enough how important it is during this time to remain as calm as possible, and keep a level head. So I would definitely choose the color blue, without a doubt. So now that the do now is up, we are about to dive into the main segment, our community circle. And again, we have Roger, also known as Teacherman91 on Instagram, and maybe you could drop all the other social medias in a bit. Yeah. But we got a Brooklyn-born man here, Black educator, which is even better.
Yes.
Yeah, former student athlete from Long Island University. Studied business administration with a master's in education. And before becoming a teacher, you coached football and was a personal trainer. So you're all about health, all about that. And that's actually a really good thing. So yeah, please give us a little bit more about who you are. And yeah, let's dive in.
So the reason a lot of people ask me why did I start teaching? And I was doing, before I started teaching, I had an internship with this non-profit. United Way was funding it, but we were like mentors to at-risk youth. That's what they call them. And I did a little bit more than what my job description was. But then I figured if I'm going in these teachers' classroom and helping grade homework and I'm dealing with behavior class management, which teachers shouldn't be doing, I was like, I might as well be a teacher if I'm doing all this already. So I'm not a traditional teacher. I went through the Teaching Fellows, if anyone knows what that is.
Yes.
Yeah. I went through the New York City Teaching Fellows. And I honestly did not think I was going to get to year 4 because I struggled with the certification exams. It was very difficult. I failed that exam.
That's real. That's real.
I was originally a 7 through 12 math, and then I failed that exam like 7 times. So I ended up doing middle school generalist, and I ended up passing that exam. And then the HCPA was another struggle, and that's what a lot of teachers don't talk about: the struggle to become a teacher, and then
right.
And then the training is nothing like what you're going to see when you actually start the job. So like, I feel like that's another reason why there's like a high turnover rate with teaching. Because, they're in classroom learning about teaching, then you actually get in the classroom, and most of the times we get the Title I schools, the schools in the low income communities, they hire faster. So we get these jobs, and then we have no idea what to expect. And it takes a special person, a strong-minded person to get through teaching with black and brown kids. So another thing, I thought because I was Black that kids are going to easily respect me just because I was Black, and that was a big misconception that I had. They Black, brown, white, green. You have to show them that you care before they allow you to teach them.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's dope.
So, yeah.
I'm interested in how you have been adjusting or acclimating to the remote learning reality and how that's been for you, especially as an educator of color. So love to hear, like, 1, as an educator, how that shift has been, and 2, what are some things that you're doing to make that an engaging platform for?
It hasn't been hard because I've been tutoring remotely for a year now.
Oh, wow.
So and funny thing, I've been telling parents, like, this is the future. A lot of them didn't believe me. You know, like, unfortunately, you know, I wouldn't like to have it like this, but this is the future. This is what kids are gonna need in the long run. Because at my experience with college, we did everything. Mostly, we did a lot of things remotely in undergrad, and then I went to a school in grad school that was 50% online. So I was like, this could work. So what I do is I make YouTube videos for each lesson, and what I try to do to decrease the anxiety for students and the question that they're going to ask me is I describe in detail everything in that video. Not only how to solve the problem, but how to access the assignment, what to do when you're finished, how to insert, how to type in the answers. So everything I know they're going to ask me, I put in the video. Then I do Instagram Live teaching for my classes because Instagram Live stays up to 24 hours.
Yeah. So
a lot of our kids, their sleeping pattern is all messed up. So a lot of them waking up at 12, 1, 2, you know, they're not doing work till late. So if I start my session at admin was starting at 10 or 11 o'clock, a lot of them not going to wake up that time.
Right.
Then if they miss it, they're going to ask me 1,000 questions. Yeah. So to take care of that, I'm like, I'm going to do it on Instagram Live. I'm going to share it. I have a group chat for every class on Instagram. So I just share it to the group chat. So whenever you wake up and whenever you're ready to do your work, it's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
If not Instagram Live, it's on YouTube. And then I have conferencing hours. They can always text me or call me before 5 p.m. They can always text me or call me. I'll FaceTime you. I'll help you. And I feel like if you're more accessible, the students will feel more comfortable doing the assignment, and then they'll be more willing to do your assignment. Because as you know, kids, what I learned, these kids they do the teacher's work, which they have the best relationship with. They do that teacher's work first. Yep. Exactly. And they'll do everyone else's assignment. Yeah.
That's cool.
So you said that you were in the teaching fellowship in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
So you taught in New York before you came here to Boston?
No, I'm not.
You currently live in Brooklyn?
I live in Manhattan, uptown Manhattan. But I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
I teach in the Bronx.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So are you in the public school or charter? Or are you in the public school?
It's an alternative school. So
alternative. What way?
Yeah, so like a lot of the kids that I teach, a lot of them 95% of them got kicked out of their old school or multiple schools. We got some kids with records, and most of them are overage. So I have a 16-year-old in 6th grade, you know.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
We have 18-year-olds in 9th grade. Like it's one of those type of schools.
So the school that you're at, you said that you've been doing the online learning platform before the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So this is something that your school has pushed all teachers to do, or just you?
No, I was doing it on my own tutoring, but this is new to a lot of 99% of the teachers. This is like they're struggling.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think what you brought up about the relationships being an important part of this was just something very valuable to hear because, I currently work for the Department of Education. And one of the things that we've been thinking about and what we had been thinking about before this pandemic started was like culturally responsive practice and thinking about like equity for racial for students of color. And I read this article and I came across this article that was saying maybe like Black and brown kids are better off learning at home with their parents just because they have that vantage point of them knowing them on a deep level and valuing them and uprooting their history and really just pushing the importance of how important that relationship is that kids are supposed to have with their teachers and how they can learn effectively without having those deep touch points in those relationships. So I think that what you're doing, especially as an educator of color, proves that we need more educators of color, especially Black men, because our kids have better outcomes by being connected to people who look like them and developing deep, authentic relationships inside their learning. So thank you for sharing that.
Question, Roger.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead, Ro.
Word. So you are making yourself accessible via YouTube, IG, FaceTime, text. Have you been able to reach all of your students? And if not, like, how are you tapping into the students who are not responding to you? Because that's the struggle that I'm having. Like, Miss Augustine is as available as you can be. I remember my mentor teacher was like, "You're really giving these students your number?" And I was like, "Hell yeah." But there are still students who I haven't been able to reach. So how are you targeting those babies? Because they need us
working
too.
with working with the counselors.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's not our job. There's people that do that. Parent outreach, there's like someone hired to do that. So I feel like for us to reach every teacher, to every student, and then teach them and then help them with technology, that's overboard. I mean, we're gonna burn out. There's people for that, but what I do, I only do that at control. So I work with the counselors for the kids I can't reach, but I also ask students, all right, if I got one kid number, you send me every kid number you got. Then I get the other kid number, you send me every other kid number, Snapchat, anything. I'll download the app and I'll reach them. So I'm using like a chain reaction type of thing. I wanna get all the students, not the parents. I don't want to talk to the parent because in our community, they're struggling just as much as the kid. So I feel like, and the kid at the end of the day, the student has to get the work done, not the parent. And then you gotta understand too, in my community, I don't know about yours, but a lot of the parents don't raise their kids, grandparents.
Yeah.
Which are completely, they're not even on the same stratosphere as us right now with what we're doing with technology. They're they're disconnected from that. Yeah. So I know like a lot of my friends growing up, their grandparents raised them, my cousins, they raised all of us. So a lot of parents don't even, like you speak about relationships, a lot of parents don't have a relationship with their kids because they're working 2 jobs. Yeah. Working 2 or 3 jobs, trying to get this money and now they're finally home with their child for the first time in a really, really long time and they don't know them.
Yeah, so just for clarification, you're urging like right now during this pandemic, as we are working through remote learning, you aren't really interested in reaching out or involving the parents too much, just given the stress and extra work that they do. But that's not your normal practice. Like, do you engage parents? Like everything was normal? Do you work to engage families in the community in that way?
I backed off of it as the years went on. Because I didn't see I didn't see any change. Like I would call a parent about the issue, and the kid would come back like like nothing happened. And they'll tell me,
that does happen. That does happen a lot.
My parents didn't do nothing. They'll tell me. So I realized when I realized building a relationship with the student more is more effective than especially when a lot of my students they've been kicked out of school so much. Their parents probably heard it all. Like, okay, what you calling here for now? He's misbehaving, okay, what's new? So I don't even want to stress them with that. I'd rather just deal with the kid, the student, and build a relationship with them.
Yeah, you speak to building relationships, and I think that's really, really dope. And you're finding different outlets to be able to do that. I'm wondering now, given that things are more virtual and we're not able to have that face-to-face time, how are you able to sustain or even continue to build these relationships with the students virtually?
Group chats on Instagram. So most of my students follow me. So I got all the Instagrams. It took me about a day to get everybody. Put them all in for one class, put them all in one group, another class, put them all in one group. Let them know what's due, what's up right now. If we're meeting on Google Link, I'll put the link in the chat. And I ask them questions outside of schoolwork, how's things going right now, with just what's going on. And then we have regular conversations about that. Just to keep them in tune. It's not all about work, especially at a time like this. It's not all about school.
Yeah. So how does that look like with building those relationships other than like schoolwork and stuff? Are you like checking in? Do you have any one-on-one time? I've actually watched a couple of your live videos as well. And it looks like you're involving a lot of students. Are all of these students your students? Are these like brand new students?
Now with so many people tuning in, sometimes I don't. Some students DM me that didn't even go to my school and was like, I did your work. I'm like, wait, are you my student? I don't go to your school. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's dope.
And don't get me wrong, not every student tunes in. And I expect that. So I don't get disappointed. That's the reason why, thank God for Instagram, stay for 24 hours, because they'll be able to access it. But some students I know that's not on social media, I have their number, and I'll contact them that way.
I think that's so dope that you're able to not just reach your kids, but reach other kids who are also trying to learn inside of this virtual space.
That's very exciting too.
I know my cat, you might see my cat just coming in and out. She's being super aggy right now. But with that said, and just talking about the reach in which you've been able to have on Instagram, one of my questions for inspiration behind like Teacherman91, because on Instagram you have like over 8,000 followers. It's become this hub for like a little bit of comedic relief and really honing in inside of educator teacher life. So really want to know more about why and how you started this kind of page for educators and where you see it going moving forward.
At first, it started in the summer. So the summer, at a time like this, I'm in the house all day. I was bored. I'm like, I'm about to just rebrand my page. I was like, what's a catchy name? I was like, you know what? I like HeERREE Davis. So he always got this catchphrase like, I don't know if you guys ever seen HeERREE Davis, like an example. He'd be like I'm trying to think of a video. But he'd always say, he'd be like, Teacherman, yeah, that's me.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it came from. So I was like, all right, I'm going to Teacherman. I was born in 1991. My birthday is May 10th, 1991. So, you know, on Instagram, you get a number next to it. So I was like, all right, Teacherman91. And that was it. And then I started, it was really hard in the beginning because I didn't know what the people that followed me liked. First, I started just putting out teaching and tutoring videos. And then I started playing around with the memes, and I seen the reaction to that. So I kept throwing the memes out there, and I was like, I don't want it to be a meme page only. I want to give them insight on what I do in the classroom, what I do for my students, and just quotes and just keeping it real. I feel like a lot of people like my page because I keep it real in my quotes, and no matter, there's a lot of people that disagree, some people that agree, and that's fine. You know, it's great for debate.
Yeah.
So I speak about what's on my mind. With the memes, I make about 3 or 4 a day. I make about maybe 1 or 2 quotes a day. And for the videos, it's pretty much whatever's on my mind. So I'll think of something. Now I'll get my tripod and just get this out before I forget it. And being authentic, I think, attracts people. If I don't rehearse anything, I turn the camera on and I just speak. And however it comes out, it comes out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's dope.
It is. Now, question, Roger. So obviously it's evident that you really devote a good chunk of your time to our young people, which is dope. And I think we all care about our students, which is why we do what we do. But I'm just curious, like, what is it that you're doing for you as all of this is going down right now? Like, how are you finding, I was going to come. How are you finding that balance? And how are you intentionally setting aside time for you?
In general or like now?
You know what? Answer both of them in general, and then let's zoom in into what's happening right now in our world. Yeah.
Okay, right now, seeing the house all day, it's not much, but I watch TV, pray a lot, especially now. I pray so much. Video games, the tutoring I was doing, kind of like it's like an outlet too, because it keeps me sharp. It's like being in a classroom again, so that keeps me sharp on my skills, and so just sticking to a schedule, working out as well. And sticking to a schedule like how I would be if I was working. So I'm not sitting down doing nothing, going crazy. Because we all know if we're just sitting down thinking a lot, especially about what's going on now, you will lose your mind looking at the news. Like, it's crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
So I try to keep my mind off of that stuff. On a regular, like if we were able to go outside, I go to concerts, go to basketball games. I like to see the Knicks. Even though we're not winning.
You don't need to talk.
Yeah. I live in Upper Manhattan, so like a lot of the clubs are not far from where I'm at. So a lot of artists come out here and perform. So I go to a lot of concerts, listening parties. I work out, play basketball every now and then at a rec center. play basketball with my students during work. Work is actually fun because I work out during work as well. I work out and play basketball with my kids at gym.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the platform. You said that you're on YouTube, you use Instagram, you use group chats to connect with students. And I know for me as an educator, I've had a really tough time picking there's so many different platforms to use. There's Zoom, there's Kahoot, there's so many different things. How did you go about choosing those to use as opposed to something else? And is there a benefit to the ones that you use over the ones that are other ones that are out there?
I got into it with my admin about this because they want us to use Google Meet for our students, but I'm like, one, this goes with knowing your students and relationship. One, these kids are not, and then they want us to, the Google Meet is from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. These kids are not waking up at that time. And to 9:30 or 11. Either or, they're not waking up 9:30 or 11. Yeah. So, one, kids are struggling, students and teachers are struggling with Google Classroom as is. Now you want them to go use Google Meet. They don't even know how to use Google Classroom. Some of them don't even know how to use a computer the right way. So get them to get up, right? Think about this, an 11, 12-year-old kid. Get up, turn the computer on, log in, and just sit in front of the computer when they can pick up their phone, go on Instagram, and just, boom, log into my live. Which one is easier?
True. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of work to turn your computer on. If it's there, you got to charge it. And then it takes a while to load. Then go to Google Classroom, click the Google Meet link, and then finally access it. And instead of take your phone out, boom. You got to go with students who are more accessible.
What did the admin say about that?
You're so messy.
I just did it just because, what I did was I had 2 laptops, and I'm on Instagram Live as well.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So I just to listen, you gotta do your job. And then, so I did it. But I told them maybe 2 to 3 kids sign in. Maybe out of, how many total kids did I teach? It's not a big percentage.
Right.
Where with Instagram, if someone doesn't reach me, they can access that material later on in the day.
What are some of the challenges that you're seeing outside of that? I mean, since students aren't actually attending some of the Google Classroom classes, what are the challenges that you're getting with them actually being able to complete the work? And I'm wondering how this might impact, their future as well.
Yeah. So, all right, there's 2 types of students. The small percentage, the first time they're going to actually, their intent is to give you quality work. There's other students who in the beginning didn't do nothing for the first week, and now they're trying to make up everything, and they're just giving you half work. They're just not even, they're giving you maybe 30% completion. They're just filling it out, trying to just give an answer so they can say it's completed. So it's not done properly. Then there's a drawback of social media. Every kid don't have a phone. So I assumed every kid had a phone in days like this, but everyone doesn't. So those kids are hard to reach. And then the English language learners that don't speak English at all. So how am I communicating with them? I got a hold of 1 or 2 of them, and then it's kind of easier because I go to Google Translate. I know enough where I can read Spanish. So I kind of go to Google Translate and help them best way I can. But some students don't have a phone and they're struggling using the computer. If you can't read English, how are you going to use a computer?
Yeah.
So it's not fair for everybody. It's not fair for everybody. You're not going to get 100% students. You're going to have to take an L on certain, especially if you go outside help.
Going back to what I was saying before, the equity challenges were there and present, but I think with this global crisis, it is making there is.
Absolutely.
We need a lot more bilingual teachers because a lot of these kids are coming. I've seen a lot. They speak English. I didn't in Brooklyn was more Puerto Rican and they're more Americanized. Now I'm in they just came from that the Dominican Republic. The last time they've been in school was at 8 years old.
What?
And they come to me at 15.
Wow.
They're so far, they're so far behind. It's overwhelming sometimes. And then some of them come from a lot of Africans. These other countries, they got to pay to go to school. So after a certain age, they can't afford to go to school. They got to work. and then they come here, haven't been in school for 10, 11 years, and they throw them in high school. This is crazy. So those kids they're not thought about with this pandemic.
Absolutely.
We need more bilingual teachers too.
Yeah. How do you? This is for everybody, but like, how do you keep from not feeling defeated, yo? Like when you're seeing you're doing all this work, trying to reach all these students, trying to reach all these people, trying to reach all these educators, stuff. We're like, probably like still doing what you're needing to do, trying to get in touch with people, get to you. Because I know I struggle with that.
I look at it from an athlete. Experience with that is, and you could, even if you're not an athlete, you could look at like who else? Who could I say? Right? Whether you play basketball or not, or who else? Great. Alliance was a great player, right? Never won a championship. He done all. You could play great all year, and you lose that big game. And you can either look at it as a success, with a failure. Damn, I got this far and lost the big game. The whole season was a failure. So it depends on what winner you're looking at. And I look at it as, okay, I feel these kids. Like, I struggle with English, and they laugh at me because I try. I think that's why a lot of the kids do like me, because I'm trying. Even the kids that speak English, they laugh at me like, you can't speak Spanish, but I'm like, what do you try? Yeah. And they respect that, you know? So every year I'm like, I value myself like, okay, I can do this better next year. You know, I messed up on this. I could fix that. I'm not going to beat myself up on it. Yeah. It's like, we're not perfect. And let's be real, a lot of us don't have the resources to help us. We don't have the resources at all. We're like, a lot of us buy our own equipment for classroom. You know, we come out of pocket with pencils and supplies. It's expensive. It adds up. We don't got no help, and we do it all ourselves. So you really can't beat yourself up, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think perspective is so important because especially during this time, Ro, with the pandemic, I saw this post on Instagram, and it just was like, wow, that's exactly what I needed to hear right now. It's like, we aren't working from home. We're at home trying to work.
Yeah,
and
I see that.
That just gave so much more perspective to like how much more gentle we need to be with ourselves. I think we're all just trying to, especially as educators, because we have the responsibility, we feel we have the responsibility of taking care of other lives. And so we need to be gentle with ourselves and make sure we're taking care of ourselves inside of this pandemic and everything that's going on, because our lives have been like changed and through things as normal. This is to Roger's point. I got up today and I did my lesson the best way I knew how. I get 100. You know, kind of the same grace and flexibility that we're giving to our kids. We need to give that to ourselves.
Word. That's something I'm having to remind myself. It's like, Rowan, you do give so much grace to your babies, and it's like, yo, be that man. Thank you.
I like what Roger said about the Allen Iverson kind of an analogy. I feel like teaching is one of those professions where there is no real championship. It's really a championship every day. That's how it feels. Like every day is like a, you know, that's you're in it. You're in the championship, and it could. I think just celebrating the small victories for me is important. I feel like that if you can connect with one kid, let's say you have 25 kids in the classroom, if you can reach a different kid on a certain day, that to me is a victory over a overarching view of things. Like it's just celebrating the small victories is important. So.
Word, man.
So I'm trying to get this vitamin C and zinc.
That's important.
Hey, what is happening?
Boost those immune systems.
Yeah.
What about you, Fabiola?
What was that?
How are you working not to feel defeated?
What am I doing to not feel defeated? Am I volume acting a little funny? A lot of personal time, I think. You know, I think there's like a lot of I think Steph might have caught me a few times meditating. Can you guys hear me all right?
It's like staticking and acting a little funny. Now we can't hear you at all.
And you're frozen.
But you look cute though. I wish I could take a screenshot.
Well, it sounds, I think acknowledge it. Like, guys, this virtual life is no joke.
It's a lot.
So let's just take a quick break. Oh, there we go. Back
at it again.
Hello? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. She said she's good to go. Conversation. That was dope. Thank you so much, Roger, to us about remote learning and sort of how you have been approaching that as an
educator. From Boston, right?
Of course.
My first school was American International. It's in Springfield.
American. I was actually. I actually moved to Boston from Brooklyn, so yeah, I was in Flatbush. I miss Brooklyn a lot, but Boston is cool.
It's changed a lot.
It has. Oh my God! Yeah. It was like white people galore. It was like crazy. Like gentrification.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's changed a lot. Yep.
It's like Manhattan. Brooklyn, like Manhattan now. And the rent is ridiculous. Yeah, it's like 2000 a year.
How much for a studio?
15.
Boston is comparable to New York prices.
I mean,
$1,500.
I mean, it's a little bit cheaper than that, but yeah, it's still pretty expensive.
Teachers get paid a lot here compared to other states, but you spending way more money than you are in other states. So I don't even know if it's better.
Right. It ends up balancing itself out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. I'm being mindful of time. And so, Roger, it is now the word of the day. Okay. And so I'm going to give you the floor and just allow you to leave our audience and our listeners with some inspiring words or motivating words to not only make it through this pandemic, but keep persisting as educators.
Consistency. Consistency. Students like consistency. That's how you build relationships. Can you give the same love and dedication to students every day, even on your bad days? And with your life, at a time like this, you home all day, take that time to make that meal you can't make during the week when you're working. Take that time to exercise, even if it's a little, like 10 minutes a day, even if you're working out 10 minutes every day, it adds up, 10 minutes, especially if you're not like in shape. If you do something 10 minutes times 5 days a week, that's 50 minutes, that's an hour, and then you could increase in time as you go on. What else? I don't know about anybody's relationship with God, but like build a relationship with something. Like work on yourself, work on that business. Work on your peace, the way you think, everything. By the time we get back outside, we should all be in a better space because we save the money. Word. That's a good thing. We're not spending as much money as you would if we were going out. A lot of teachers would be at every Friday. A lot of teachers be at happy hour. You shopping sometimes to get rid of the stress. I know I do. Going out, you going out somewhere every weekend just to forget about school. So we saving a lot of money. That's a positive. And you guys are still working on your podcast. You're working on your business. So consistency. That's the word.
All right. And that word is everything because I think that's what we all need to hear right now when we've been kind of uprooted from our regular routine and trying to get consistent in a new normal. That's exactly what I needed to hear, especially moving into this next week. So thank you for that. So homework, guys, please, 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 outside of taking care of yourselves, your loved ones, and your families, go ahead and follow us on Instagram at the Beans Talk Podcast. You can hit that link in bio, and then you can check out this episode on all of your favorite platforms, including YouTube, virtual style. So we'll be excited to have you all just kind of see us navigate this new reality. And we love you guys. We love you guys so much. Again, thank you, Roger, and have a great rest of the week, guys. We love you.
Take care of yourselves. We all gonna come out of this with long hair and clear skin.
Yeah.
Text for me.
Those
I appreciate this, man. This is good. Hey!